Okay, so it's time for the Halloween competition results. We've had lots of entries and there's been some really great pieces, so let's take a look. This is Ababarins. I really like this style, it's a fantastic image, really nice design, love the pumpkins. I would have liked to have seen perhaps more from the influence of the lights, so on this side of the pumpkin and on the floor here, or maybe just a glow perhaps to the lights. I'm not sure whether that's compression or whether that's sort of a stylized image that you want to go for over the top here. I'm not sure if that works for me. It kind of works, but it looks like it's just been compressed badly rather than a kind of adjustment layer, if that's the look you were going for. Really lovely piece though, really enjoyed that. This one is by Acids. Cool sort of futuristic robot Halloween with some sort of creepy roboty monster coming out of the ceiling there. Nice design, possibly a touch dark, maybe needs a bit of brightening up. And the corridor, to give the illusion of depth, it would be a good idea to maybe have some sort of lights in the background here, maybe blurred and have a depth of field. But I really like this image, absolutely fantastic. Also, you've got a few fireflies, it's worth using the denoise function or clamping. Probably the denoise does the best job. Nice piece. This one's from Acris86. Now this is a fantastic piece, definitely a contender. Nice construction, you've got the classic rule of thirds, you've got foreground detail here. You've got some background detail as well. I might have liked something to break this area up, maybe just a tiny few tufts of grass just in here, in the foreground, or maybe some sort of bush in the foreground here. Love the horse, love the shape, love the dynamic pose and the action pose. Really exciting. One other minor point is that this is our brightest point in the image, apart from the pumpkin. But our eyes are kind of drawn here first, where we want them really to be drawn here, in my opinion. So I would have wanted a bit more of light onto the horse and a little bit less here. The easiest way to do that would be to darken this bluey material here, I think. Fantastic work there. This is Ailnak, or Natch. Again, nice scene, well composed, rule of thirds, although the horizon line is kind of in the middle. It should be up slightly if you're using the rule of thirds. But in this case it doesn't matter, it's working really nicely. You've got a focal point across the side here and over here. Near your main subject you've got a light, that's quite good, draws the eye. Looking really nice this piece. Good lighting in the scene, love that. The rock as well, I think the procedural texture on the rock is a bit too bumpy. But those are really minor things, lovely work. This one's from Beeve. A well designed scene, good construction again. Tiny bit dark in places, maybe a bit more light from here, maybe a bit of a blur on the lightning from the background. And usually when you get a lightning strike like this, the whole room brightens up. So it kind of looks a bit out of place, the lightning strike. Perhaps a spooky moon or something in the background might have been better in this scenario. Watch out for fireflies again, the denoising feature will solve that almost instantly. Love the painted textures. The only problem with the construction is that the knife sticks out and then it goes into the lightning strike. And that can be a bit confusing to the eye. So to solve that, perhaps have the knife sticking in this way so it doesn't hit the lightning strike. Nice work though, lovely stuff. This one's from Christone. Really nice piece, well done. Characters are very tough, so you've taken on quite a difficult challenge here. Good shot construction, nice background. It is a bit compressed though, the background, so if it's an HDRI in the background, maybe it's a good idea just to render it with the transparent background and add the background in Photoshop or a similar program. Or try and find a really high-res image for your background. But well done for taking on such a difficult task. This one is from Diagnostic. Nice construction, nice little story going on here. I think maybe a bit more work in the characters, so painting the hand in rather than what would be a sort of weird glove type coat. I can understand they're sort of stylized characters, which is good, but a touch bit more work there, because the graveyard scene is really nice and complex and there's lots of effort gone in there, but it feels a bit like this bit might have been rushed. Love the crows, really nice. Excellent piece. Love this one from Dominar Rigel the 16th. I think I've seen similar ideas in the past. Really cool, I can see where your influence may have come from. I can't remember the specific artists, but it's a cool idea. And really nicely put together, well made. Love this big zip here as well, and these TV screens are fantastic. Nice bit of glow to them. A little bit of a story going on. Fantastic piece this one, really like it. The only criticism I would have is maybe something happening in the background. It would be nice if there was some sort of city that these guys lived in that was in the background and just blurred out, so it sort of had a bokeh effect. If any viewers don't know what bokeh is, then it's worth looking up. Bokeh. Really like this piece, fantastic work. Now we've got Emerga. I like the fact that it's at an angle. This is known as on the cant or a Dutch angle, and that can give a more disorientated feel to images. It's tricky to know what this piece is in the background here, so if it was important it might need a bit more light on it. Love the textures from this pumpkin worm thing, and that is some weird looking grass. I quite like it. Nice in terms of construction and rule of thirds as well, and I quite like this light in the background. Very interesting piece, well done. This one's from Ezelu, with lots of O's. Nice piece. Please try and keep to the size of 1920 by 1080, then it will fit on the screen that bit better. But a great piece, very interesting in the background. Nice materials by the looks of things. And I remember them saying something about vertex painting being tough. Do you know, I've not done much vertex painting except when I'm weight painting, so I don't know much about it. But I'd be interested to know why you chose that over just normal texture painting. But it looks good, a lot of effort gone into that, really nice effort. This one's from Philip Plokanik, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right at all. Really love this piece, absolutely fantastic. Beautiful character, there's not much I can fault here. I really like the little details, the shield looks really cool. It's got some real texture to it as well, nice render, nice colours and lighting. You can see a distinctive colour palette throughout, this sort of orangey greeny with a touch of grey there. Just looks great. And getting the lighting right on these sort of models is quite tricky, but this is done really, really nicely, well done. Another great piece here from Gibson. Some really spooky, bumpy textures here, I quite like that. And there's obviously a lot of hand-painted work going on here, fair bit of sculpting by the looks of things. I love this wood texture here. It would perhaps be nice to see something in the background. I can see that they're coming from the night, but to have pitch black in the background seems like they're coming from a room rather than the outside. I'm assuming they're sort of trick-or-treating and coming to the front door, you see. But really nice piece there, well done. This one's from Green Lucid. And if I remember rightly, they took a few attempts and took some advice from the group and community, and that really improved their piece. Well done for getting out there and asking for advice and taking the feedback. I like this piece. I love the pumpkins, the composition, the railings or banister or whatever it might be are a tiny bit confusing. I'm assuming it's a sort of like a front porch, but maybe there should be a bit more shape to them so it doesn't look so much like a prison or a cage. But it's a nice little story as well. The other criticism I might have is that the body of the cat doesn't actually sit on the floor, so we get a bit of light spilling through, and that's a bit confusing here and here, so dropping the body down so it actually touches the floor means it looks like they're floating at the moment. But a really great piece, really like it, well done. This one's from Howling Cow, really nice construction, really nice piece. Now rule of thirds dictates that this should be on the side, but in this case we're drawn to the middle nicely by use of light and use of these trees which sort of bring us in. It's sort of like a natural vignette. So vignette is another phrase that's worth looking up. Love the construction of this character here, and the pumpkin, and the purple fog. Love this piece. Here's one from Jadius. Some really nice textures here, good depth of field, so depth of field being the part that's in focus. Love the leaves and the feeling of the stones. Really nice, well constructed piece this. Excellent job. It's got a real atmosphere that I really like. This one's by The Duck, and this is an interesting piece. I like this. There's lots going on. It's got a weird, wacky story about this sort of pumpkin messiah that all these skulls are coming to see. I'm not really sure what's going on, but there is some sort of weird story going on that pulls in the viewer. So their modelling skills aren't up to the level of other people's, but their imagination makes up for it. Nice work. This one's from Javid Akhtar. Nice idea with the pumpkin Death Star. We've got a lot of motion going on in the background, and good idea with a lens flare coming from the bright light. A good fun piece, this one. Nice work. This one's from Jost, and I remember them getting feedback from the community as well, which certainly helped their piece. It's a really nice looking image. The pumpkins are really nice, I like them, and the light coming from them is great. I think I would have liked a bit more light in this area, just so we had somewhere to look. I know we were saying about light in the background as well, which is great because that gives it depth, and I like this depth with the pumpkin there and there. And maybe lights coming from the building would have helped, but a bit more light in this area coming from this lamp would have been really useful, I think. And you don't have to use emissions all the time, you can actually just use point lights where you've got lamps, and that will give a much more even light with less noise. Nice work though, love that. Here's one from Liram, another one who asked for feedback, and their piece was greatly improved. At the beginning it looked very flat and the textures didn't seem to stand out, but it was all a lighting issue and they solved it really nicely here. Tiny bit of a sharp edge down here, so use bevels so these sharp edges aren't so precise. Nice work there, well done. This one's from Luca. Nice construction. Like the fact that it's got the Dutch angle or the cant. This bit's just tremendous, isn't it? And it's got a nice silhouette, great lighting there. I don't particularly like the corn. I don't feel like it quite works for me. It's probably the combination of a sort of low poly style with something that's quite detailed. But it's clear that you put a lot of effort into it, and I think that's why you still wanted to show it, whereas this is our main focus. And I think a bit more darkness across the front here, tiny bit more light here, would have helped. Nice image though, well done. This one's from Manus. I really like this, fantastic work. Love the hand in the background there. And this is working nicely because our eyes are drawn here first, because that's the lightest point, and then here, which is second, and then we see the hand, and it's sort of like a bit of a jump. I would say the wood textures are a touch shiny. They look a bit plasticky. But again, that's a minor criticism. I love the image, well done. Here's one from Marcus. In fact, I need to go to this one first. So he's got the 30th of July here, and then the 31st with lots of fog and a pumpkin suddenly appears. Nice idea, I like that. Cool gnome as well. Here's a weird wacky image from Matthias. Very creepy looking. What I would have liked to have seen here is perhaps a blur in the background. So again, that term bokeh coming out. This would have been a great example and a great use of it, I think. So a depth of field, and we have a actual focus. Nice piece though. This is one from Mattis Mall. Now this is really nice, isn't it? Love the lighting through the pumpkin like this. Very nice, very creepy. Love the composition of the pumpkin. I love the fact that it's in this dip here. Sort of curves down nicely. Great depth of field. The sort of shadowy figure in the background. Really nicely composed that. And this moon. Just brilliant stuff. Exceptional piece. And I really, really like the spider as well in there. It's minor details like that that really make a piece. Nice, nice job. This one's from M. Dimirov. Nice construction. Love the low poly trees and the style. Perhaps a tiny bit more use of lighting, maybe a point light in the middle of all these to add a bit of shadow and a bit more depth, but I really like that. Nice piece. This one's from Mr. M. Another great texturing example. Really like these grungy old textures. Good use of depth of field. Perhaps a tiny bit too much bump in some of these areas, but I do like it. And I'm not sure about this light here, but I find that a bit off-putting. I can see why you'd want some light coming from this direction. Perhaps a candle somewhere around here might have been quite nice. Lovely piece though. This one's from Naylan. A creepy pumpkin street. Liking the lens flares and the motion blur. So it's got a natural focus bringing us right into the middle. Nice work. This one's from Never Craven. And there's a cool little story going on here by the looks of things. I like this sort of Minecrafty design, really blocky. And these crows are quite cool, aren't they? The only thing is I felt this was a tiny bit distracting. I couldn't quite tell what was going on here, and then the flames in the background distorted this area. So perhaps moving this block off over here so we could see the fire and then this. And there's a tiny bit too much detail that I don't know where to focus. But it's a nice piece, I like it. And here's one from Random Discorder 33. I like the character, that's very nicely sculpted. And it looks like a lot of time's gone into that. And these rocks are really nice. I think they may have run out of time a little bit to complete the whole composition. But some really nice details in there. This one's from Reinhard. A nice simple piece but effective. I like the use of lighting and the shadows that are caused. And I like the vignette that they've got on it, giving us a focus into the middle. This one's from Sid Renders. Another nice piece, really nice lighting. Possibly a bit too much in the bump on the textures of the pumpkin. And perhaps using a bit of bevel on the edges so they're not so harsh. Nice piece of work though. This one's from Sleek Digital. Lovely piece here, lots going on. Love this magic book that's happening here. Love this tombstone. That's a really nice piece. The hat's probably got a bit too much bump, but these ghosts are fantastic. And the tentacle coming out, just brilliant. Really, really nice. And nice construction as well. Love this one from Soren. Great composition. Got a nice sort of curvy line to it. Good lighting. It's just a fantastic piece actually. Love the texture of these clouds. And it really looks like the light is coming from the moon here. In some ways a simplistic image because there's not too much going on, but then there's enough detail to really draw your eye and keep your interest. Really, really nice work there. This one's from Taj the Guy. This is a really interesting one. And I didn't know what to make of it at first because it's almost childlike with its sort of plasticine-y, colourful, vibrant look and its quirky layout. But there's a lot of detail gone into it as well. Nice textures, Nice, quirky, creative style, love it. This one's from Tenki, quite a scary horror theme going on here. Good use of lighting, very effective. A lot of work gone into this. The only improvements, I would say, looking at your textures here, got very sharp lines and very bumpy textures. So maybe toning back there, adding a bevel onto these edges so they're not so harsh. Love the motion that's in the piece though, and just weird messed up style works really well. This one's from Timoleon. Like this piece as well, nice construction, good use of the rule of thirds, good use of textures, really nice style. The only bit I don't like is the grass. I feel like maybe just a few tufts coming through and a bit thinner. They look a bit thick and I feel like they detract a bit. The leaves are fantastic though. Nice piece though. Here's one from TJ Carter. Like the little story with the ghost outside. Took me a while to see that, and that was fun when it suddenly jumped out at me. This one's from Tony Two Hands. Great image, lots going on, slightly disorientating with the sort of blur that's going on, the motion blur, and there's lots of movement in the piece, really nice. And the subtlety of the trees in the background is great. I would say it's just a tiny bit flat, looks a bit sort of grey with the fog, a little bit less fog, so we're not too distracted and it's not too flat, but nice piece that. This one's from Videra. Lovely piece, lovely textures, very iconic of Halloween. Perhaps a bevel on these edges again might be nice, and perhaps a bit of depth of field so the moon was maybe out of focus. Lovely work though. This one's from Warspawn. I think they ran out of time because I would have liked to have seen a background, or maybe just place it on a surface with a shadow so it doesn't just sit on nothing. But nice idea of the fact that it's all gone. Love these textures. Smooth shading I think would have helped, and use the denoise as well to get rid of the fireflies. Love the idea though, excellent thinking. Here's one from Yazid Nauri. Now this is exceptional and really nicely put together. I love the background that they put it in. Beautiful sculpt, and I think they must have been looking at Jan's channel for the texturing, because that reminds me of his work. It's also got the hard surface detail here with the hat and the robot arms. Really, really nice piece there. And the last one is from Zai Li. Nice piece, nice simplistic style. Love the lighting bursting through from the pumpkin and a bit of edge lighting on top, well done. Tiny bit shiny I would say, so think about your material's texture. Perhaps a bit more bump on this one would have been nice around the skin. So some excellent work from everybody there. Thank you very much to everybody that got involved. There were some wonderful pieces, it was really hard to decide, but I think I'm going to go for Mattis Mole. I really like the construction of this one. There were some really close ones, but this one really stood out. A really beautiful piece, so thanks very much to Mattis Mole. You've earned your place on the wall. There were a few really close ones there, and I imagine a few people might disagree because there was such fantastic work from other people as well. So you can comment in the description whether you agreed with my choice, or maybe if you disagreed you can put down who you thought should have won, so maybe we can have a people's choice as well, as there were so many good ones. So thanks again for taking part. I'll put the details on the Discord server for the next competition. Really enjoying seeing your work, really glad you all took part. Thanks again, and thanks for watching.